Hi, it's Debbie here and welcome to my consult. Today's consult is going to be in relation to a session I had with a client a few weeks ago. And I call it the SSS session. And I'll just be blunt with you, it is called Shed Your Shit Session with Debbie. And it takes more than a 3-hour session. We work together with my client, well, let's call client Bob. Client Bob had some intense behaviours that he wanted to shift, and he lives a good 6-7 hours drive from where my office is in Tampa. And he didn't feel comfortable doing virtual. He wanted to meet me in person. So I said, let's just get this done. Done, dusted, move on with your life. So we put together a program that he would drive down on the first day, and he would come and meet me at 12 o'clock, and we worked from 12 o'clock till 5. He then stayed with family close by, and the following day he came in at 10 o'clock and we worked together till 5. During that time he spent time getting a massage, he had lunch, and he had time in the sauna to do some reflection. And when he left, I can honestly say he really felt as if he was on his journey to reaching his goal. His mindset had transformed in the intense work we did together. So I want to tell you a bit about Bob. Again, for confidentiality reasons, his name isn't Bob. In fact, it may not well be a he, it may well be a she. But again, for confidentiality purposes, we'll just call this person Bob. I never worked with Bob before. He found me on the website. We had one call on the phone, and within a few days he decided to drive down to work with me. His major behaviours were he wasn't reaching financial freedom. He reached a certain point in his life where he had some investments doing this and his work doing that, business doing this, but he was fighting himself for breaking that pattern of believing he had enough and then going backwards. Having enough, then going backwards. Having enough, then going backwards. Now, the behaviour he had was the self-negative thinking he had in his head continually. Once he felt focused, he would go to work, business, and drive it, but in no time at all, when he had a really important decision to make, the negative thinker would come and tell him otherwise. It's not the right thing to do, you need to be careful, you're going to fail, you're going to screw up. That was another behaviour he had. He also had another behaviour which was a longing to be desired. So his partners, his relationships weren't the relationships that he had hoped for. They weren't emotionally stable for him. They were very much driven by what he saw on the surface, but not really deep. Those 3 elements we worked with, and I'll tell you how we worked on them. On the first day when he came to see me, we spent quite a long time, about half an hour, really getting comfortable with each other. Within the first hour, we had recognised the negative beliefs he was holding on to, which were triggering the feelings he had, which in effect played out in his behaviour, a reaction to certain things or an action to the negative feeling, emotion he had. Within the 4-hour first long session, we identified quite a few conflicting personalities that Bob had that were fighting himself, and one of which was formed at a very young age of 3, and the other one a very young age of 8. Both of those parts of him he managed to connect to, get to know actually, and realise that these parts of him were protecting him, had a good intention for him. And he managed to negotiate with these parts and have them working with him. One actually was made redundant, and the other part was transforming with him to work with him. Then I was able to discuss after that technique how the patterns in his life had played out, and it was like, wow, he got this. And he went away with some homework to do, a reflection of what had come up in our 4-hour intense session. Following day he came in on time, I was on time too, and we both jumped in to a technique called breath work. And the breath work allowed anything that was going to hold him back from financial freedom, from meeting the right partner, and from that negative sabotaging thought beating him up. The breath work was astonishing. 2.5 hours doing breath, knocking down all of those walls that let go of that suppressed emotion, sadness, not speaking what you wanted to speak, heaviness, a sense of belonging, anger, wasting time in his stomach. All of this, the breath work released in our session. Then it went on a timeline to the events in his life that he actually pushed down those emotions. It was remarkable, miraculous. Then I jumped in with hypnotherapy and managed to go back to 5, 6 accounts being the cause, the memories that he had perceived the negative thoughts about himself. We did not relive the memory. No, we didn't. We reviewed every memory. The breath work took him to, and then hypnotherapy, we managed to look and review at these memories, take from it what he wanted to take from it, let go what he wanted to let go, and managed to allow himself to free himself up of the negative emotions and thoughts from the past, with so much more understanding at where they came from. The understanding gave him the power that he was yearning for 45 years. After then, he went for a relaxing time. He had a massage in our wellness centre. Then he went to the sauna to reflect on what had come up. We then had some lunch and he joined me back in my room where we processed the whole breathwork session and what he took from it. It was amazing to see the patterns of money. He had a negative relationship with money. Whatever he learned, he felt he wasn't worthy of, he wasn't deserving of, because he didn't associate earning money with good traits and good people. Money had a negative impact on him. He also recognized that there was a long desire to feel wanted and needed and special. And that behavior was through women. He had multiple women around his circle recognizing him. And you realize that part was short-lived because the feeling inside him of being worthy and deserving of liking himself was that feeling he was searching for. It was really amazing. We spent a long time looking at him finding his answers. Notice Bob finding Bob's answers. Once he found his answers, we then did a full programming session. We reprogrammed that blueprint that he had created when he was 2, 3, 4, 5. And we gave an amazing positive recording of the real him. That version of him he was born to be. Every organ healthy, wonderful, vibrant, confident, adventurous person that was worthy and deserving of leading his business, his career. He was worthy and deserving of being loved for being Bob. Because his desires was worth to be met, but he had a desire to actually get to know him more and to love him and to embrace himself from within. At the end of the session, Bob left very, very happy. His face just looked so different. It's like he'd shed 10 pounds in weight that he'd been carrying on his shoulders. And I felt that the goal that he'd set out to had been achieved, and he had too. But remember, that goal was how he feels inside. Now the process happens. Let Bob live his journey. The process happens now with the people and supportive people that he's going to attract into his life. The business that he's been having people run, that he can now lead, knowing that he's worthy and deserving of growing it. But most of all, embracing Bob, that he actually recognized that he had his own issues and it was time for his self to seek help. And he found me on the internet, and we agreed together that perhaps an SSS session was right for him. So basically, if you're ready to have an SSS, deep, intense, shed your shit session with me, and allow yourself to transform so remarkably, please get in touch. You can do this by phoning my cell phone 813-992-3330 or going to my email address, which is debbiedebickus@gmail.com, and we can meet that way and take it further. Thank you.